My beloved, I see the many sounds swirling around you. You feel them. Clipped conversations, the clatter of obligations, the endless scroll of other people's lives, each trying to wedge itself between your ear and my voice. Beneath that loudness there is a quieter vibration, a steady hum of worry that tries to settle into your spirit like dust into an unattended room. That hum feels familiar because hesitation finds places to rest inside you. Yet I am closer than that dust. I am nearer than your breath, and my presence surrounds the place where your choices are formed. Itua, you have been tempted to stall until everything lines up, until you can see the path from beginning to end with no shadow left unexplained. That urge is natural. The mind seeks the comfort of certainty. But the preparation I've made for you was not intended only for those who will act when every detail is visible. It was fashioned for the watchful and the brave, those who will step when I point, even if their vision extends only to the next footfall. When uncertainty rises, it whispers that you should wait for more evidence, and while you wait, what I have readied slips by unnoticed. Anxious thinking steals access to what I have set before you. It blurs the distinction between my guidance and your fear. When the heart becomes crowded with what-ifs and should-haves, doubt takes root and stacks small walls until you are kept outside the very circle of blessing I have prepared. From outside that circle, your opportunities look distant and speculative rather than near and real. So I call you now to clear the inner room. Tune your attention. Remove the clutter that keeps you distracted, and refuse to let the world's racket drown the clear voice that calls you forward. Begin by tending the space where I speak. Guard your quiet moments as you would protect the most precious thing you own. Make them consistent rather than occasional. This is not rehearsal for performance. It is the creation of a sanctuary in which my words can be heard without interference. In that simplicity your perception sharpens. Stray thoughts lose their power. What once felt murky becomes lucid. In that clarity, you will recognize my prompts because they arrive as calm, compelling nudges rather than frantic shouts. Learn to listen with more than the ears of your body. There is an inward sense that can tell the difference between a fearful impulse and a true leading. A genuine prompt settles your spirit with steady assurance. It does not fray your nerves. If the guidance that arises within you brings persistent peace rather than a spike of panic, give it weight. If the same impression is confirmed through a friend's timely word, a shifting circumstance, or an idea that keeps returning, move. I often light only the very next step, not the entire route, and your trust in that small light is the way forward. Do not mistake stillness for inactivity. Readiness can be quiet and vigorous at once. Deliberate prayer, careful reflection, and a willingness to obey small instructions. Many have missed larger gifts because they refused the small, messy assignments placed before them. When you feel a nudge to reach out, to make a call, to remove an obstacle, respond. Those actions are invitations to participate with me. They are openings that demonstrate trust and begin to align circumstances to the good I have planned for you. Remember that feelings are not your map. Emotions rise and fall. They are shaped by weather, memory, and fleeting circumstance. Faith is not governed by feeling. It is trust that chooses movement in the absence of perfect emotion. Anchor your decisions in the steady reality that I am working for your good rather than in the tremors of anxiety or the warmth of passing confidence. You were given resilience at your core, more than you usually credit yourself with. Let that resilience steady you when worry would steal your step. There are enemies to readiness. Fear that whispers you are inadequate. Voices that insist you are too late. And the subtle lie that waiting protects you from error. None of these can unmake what I have prepared if you choose to step, yet they can bury an opportunity beneath a mound of reasonable-sounding excuses. So, examine your default reasonings. Are they careful caution or clever camouflage for fear? Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to move despite it. Practice saying yes to small faithful steps and watch how momentum gathers and widens into a pathway you once considered impossible. Feel my nearness now. Let it displace the shrillness that clamors for your attention. Breathe as though my presence is the steady air that steadies your choices. When I call the time to move, do not write it off as reckless impulse. Hear it as an invitation to align action with the inner whisper that knows the way. Move with the assurance that my power surrounds each step you take. I do not ask you to carry the burden alone. I have already borne much on your behalf and continue to work in the unseen for your good. So rise from your place of waiting. Straighten your posture if that helps. Steady your gaze and walk with the quiet courage that listens more than it panics. Keep your inner compass fixed toward me. Let the clattering world fall away enough that you can hear what I am saying. The path I have prepared for you is nearer than you imagine. Take the next step I give you, not because you must be flawless, but because you are held, because obedience opens the way, and because readiness is as much about faithful movement as it is about perfect sight. Move now with gentle resolve, and allow what I have prepared to begin to unfold through your willing steps. Move with patience and clarity. When you stumble, do not take it as a verdict on your worth. Let it be a lesson that strengthens your discernment. When resistance comes, remember that resistance often signals importance. Keep a steady rhythm of listening and doing, of silence and small obedience. Over time, these habits shape a life that is ready to receive and steward what comes. Let your readiness be visible in ordinary days as well as extraordinary ones. My beloved, I see how you sometimes hesitate when the prompting is small, how you wait for signs written in the sky while overlooking the quiet motion I have already placed within your heart. Do not think that the steps I ask of you must always be large or dramatic. Obedience often begins as a whisper, as something so simple that your rational mind is tempted to dismiss it. But I tell you, every great unfolding in the world begins with one small act carried out in trust. You look for certainty, yet I've given you something greater, invitation. I invite you to walk with me, not to merely watch for outcomes. When you respond to a small nudge, you demonstrate that you believe my presence is real and active. Each gentle urge toward goodness, each soft thought that leans towards a compassion or service is a thread of connection between us. When you follow those threads, they begin to weave a stronger fabric beneath your feet, a pathway made of trust. When I place a thought in your mind, perhaps to reach out to someone to begin a task, to change your daily rhythm, do not argue with the smallness of it. Small steps are not insignificant. They are the foundation for what is coming. A seed does not resemble the tree it becomes, yet every branch and leaf is hidden inside its fragile shell. In the same way, obedience to a small leading holds within it the promise of things far beyond your sight. The moment you act, invisible currents begin to move. Sometimes, obedience feels like standing on the edge of a vast fog. You cannot see what waits ahead, only that one step exists before you. In that moment, remember that I am the one who created both the step and the fog. If I have called you forward, it means I have already secured the ground beneath your feet. Even if your progress feels uncertain, your faith in me anchors what you cannot yet see. Do not wait for perfect timing, for rarely will all conditions align. The world is not arranged to favor hesitation. It rewards the heart that dares to move when called. When you hear me, act quickly, not recklessly, but with the assurance that obedience is always safe ground. The longer you delay, the more room doubt finds to enter. The mind begins to analyze what faith already understood. So, take the step when it is still fresh in your heart, when the whisper still carries warmth. There will be moments when you question whether the impulse was truly from me. I understand this uncertainty, for discernment is learned through practice. Pay attention to how the prompting feels in your inner being. My guidance will not drag you into fear or haste. It steadies rather than shakes. It brings quiet conviction rather than frantic urgency. When you follow it, peace remains, even if challenges arise. And if you miss the way once, I do not scold, I redirect. My voice is persistent and patient, not condemning. Be mindful, too, of the people around you. Not everyone will hear what I speak to you. Some will call your movement rash because they cannot perceive the quiet reasoning that has unfolded in your spirit. That is why your trust must rest in me, not in collective approval. Seek counsel when needed, but do not allow the fear of misunderstanding to silence obedience. Often, the path I designed for you looks unreasonable until it has already borne fruit. Remember, I measure obedience not by success, but by faithfulness. Success is the visible harvest, but faithfulness is the planting of the seed in uncertain soil. There will be days when you act on what I show you, and the immediate result seems small or even invisible. Do not be discouraged. What looks still on the surface often hides unseen growth beneath. I have never forgotten a single obedient act performed in love. Each one joins a vast network of goodness that expands beyond your sight. When your confidence wavers, recall how I have led you before. Look back to the times when you followed my prompting and found unexpected provision or peace. Memory is one of faith's greatest allies. It anchors you in the knowledge that I have guided you faithfully and will continue to do so. The same voice that once led you into safety is the one speaking now. Let remembrance strengthen your resolve to act again. Practice responsiveness in small matters so that when greater directions come, your heart will already be trained to recognize my rhythm. You cannot learn trust in a single leap. It is built step by step, like a musician training the ear to recognize familiar tones. The more often you respond to gentle urgings, the easier it becomes to know which voice is mine. Eventually, obedience will no longer feel like a difficult command, but like a natural extension of love. When I ask for action, I am not testing your worthiness. I am inviting your participation. Creation itself responds to my word. Winds shift, seeds sprout, waters part, and you, beloved, are part of that living creation. Your obedience harmonizes with my purpose in the world. Every faithful response from you sends ripples through the unseen realm, influencing more than you will ever realize. You may think your step is small, but I weave it into the fabric of something eternal. If hesitation comes again, and it will, remember that waiting for absolute certainty is often another form of fear. True faith does not demand to see the end before it begins. It simply believes that I walk within the unknown. When your mind clamors for reassurance, return to the quiet space where my voice is clearest. Breathe, listen, and then act. You are not alone when you move. My strength moves through you. Do not compare your obedience with anyone else's. What I ask of you is shaped precisely for who you are and where you stand in this season. Someone else's step might look larger or smaller, but faith is not measured in distance. It is measured in sincerity. A small act done from a whole heart carries more power than grand gestures performed for recognition. Focus not on the scale of the deed, but on the depth of your trust. And when you act, act joyfully. Let obedience be a song rather than a sigh. Every yes you speak to me is music that resounds far beyond what you hear. It is echoed in hearts you may never meet, in circumstances you may never know. The world grows lighter each time you choose trust over doubt. So today, when the next whisper comes, when you sense the quiet pull to begin, to speak, to give, to move, answer it without delay. It may not make perfect sense, but it will make perfect peace. Your faith will turn uncertainty into movement, movement into clarity, and clarity into testimony. Step into what I show you, for I walk with you in every motion. And as you move, you will see that obedience was never a task to prove your worth. It was the way you were always meant to live with me, hand in hand, moment by moment, trusting what is unseen but deeply real. My beloved, now that your heart has learned to move in trust, let us speak about readiness, true readiness that grows from thankfulness. You often wonder what it means to be prepared for what I have promised. Many think readiness is about gathering resources or arranging conditions so everything looks perfect. But spiritual readiness begins in the unseen spaces of gratitude. Thankfulness clears away the fog that hides my blessings. It enlarges the vessel of your heart so you can hold more of what I long to give. Understand this deeply. Gratitude is not merely polite acknowledgement, it is alignment. When you give thanks, your spirit turns toward me, adjusting itself to my frequency, like a tuning instrument finding the right pitch. Where worry tightens the heart, gratitude loosens it. Where fear darkens thought, gratitude opens windows for light. The very act of giving thanks awakens perception. It trains you to notice how I am already present in every ordinary thing. You have looked far ahead, waiting for the day when everything promised arrives, yet much of what you long for has already begun to bloom quietly within you. Gratitude helps you see it. When you wake, let your first thought be not of what is missing, but of what is given. The air that fills your lungs, the strength to rise, the warmth that reaches you through even the simplest meal. These are proof that I am near. When you start each day with awareness of these gifts, the noise that once filled your mind will soften, and a sacred clarity will take its place. There is a secret power in thanking me before you see results. To thank me afterward is natural, but to thank me beforehand is faith in motion. It declares, I trust your goodness even when I cannot yet touch its form. Such gratitude transforms waiting into worship. It creates an atmosphere in which my promises can settle and take shape. When you give thanks as though you already hold what I have promised, you are not pretending. You are aligning with the reality of my word, which is more solid than what you can see. Let your gratitude speak out loud. Words shape reality more than you know. When you say, I am thankful because my guide is faithful, you are not merely describing a feeling. You are building spiritual architecture around your life. The unseen world listens to your declarations and responds. Doubt loses ground when gratitude takes voice. So speak thanks daily, not as a ritual but as an honest acknowledgement that you trust me more than circumstance. Be thankful not only for visible blessings, but also for the invisible shaping within your heart. When difficulties come, let gratitude be your steady companion. Say, I may not understand this now, but I am grateful that you are forming something lasting in me. Hardship, when met with thanks, loses its power to harm. Gratitude turns trials into teachers, transforming pain into wisdom and confusion into deeper faith. Your thankfulness must also move beyond words. It must show itself in how you live. Care for what you already possess as though it were holy, because it is. Every small provision, every corner of your dwelling, every person in your life has been entrusted to you for a purpose. To honor what you have is to prove you are ready for what is next. Do not dismiss the simple or the humble things. Gratitude that only appears for grand moments misses the miracle of daily grace. Look at your surroundings with new eyes. The chair where you rest, the table where you share meals, the sunlight that filters across your floor, all testify to continued care. When you treat these ordinary details with appreciation, you open the doorway for extraordinary moments to enter. It is not the abundance of possessions that attracts my blessing, but the abundance of gratitude within you. Be generous with thanks towards others too. When someone extends kindness, when they listen or lighten your load, let your gratitude be clear and warm. In expressing appreciation, you honor the ways I work through human hearts. Gratitude expressed creates connection. It multiplies goodness between souls. A thankful person becomes a light that others recognize and gravitate toward because joy naturally flows from their presence. Do not think gratitude requires perfection in your circumstances. Some of the most luminous souls learned to thank me while sitting in the midst of loss. They discovered that thanksgiving is not dependent on what happens, but on who I am. When you thank me from a place of uncertainty, you declare that your hope rests not on outcomes but on relationship. That declaration draws heaven close. I ask you to make space daily for silent appreciation. It may be only a few moments when you pause amid your work or before rest. Let your mind wander over the small mercies of the day, the gentle word received, the problem that quietly resolved, the strength that carried you through a hard hour. Name them, one by one, and say within, thank you. These whispered acknowledgments reshape your inner world more powerfully than you can measure. Then let gratitude overflow into action. True thankfulness cannot remain still. It inspires you to share, to give, to extend care outward. When you use what you have to bless another, you mirror my own heart. Acts of generosity are gratitude made visible. Whether you offer time, comfort, or material help, do it as a continuation of thanksgiving. This is how readiness deepens, through gratitude expressed as love in motion. There is also a deeper form of gratitude, to thank me even for the waiting itself. Waiting refines the heart, teaching endurance and humility. Every delay holds a secret purpose, allowing unseen foundations to strengthen. When you thank me in that space, you reveal maturity of spirit. You say without words, I trust your timing more than my impatience. Such gratitude not only honors me, but also prepares the ground for what is coming. You sometimes ask why blessings seem slow. Often, the answer lies not in my reluctance, but in the heart's readiness. Gratitude expands your capacity to receive without being overwhelmed. It keeps you grounded when abundance arrives, reminding you of the source. The thankful heart can hold more because it remains soft and humble. A grateful soul never treats gifts as trophies but as trust. So, beloved, in this season of transition, let thankfulness be your steady rhythm. Speak it in the morning, breathe it through the afternoon, rest in it at night. Thank me for what has been, for what is, and for what will be. Your words will echo beyond time. They will rise like incense into places where unseen things take form. Gratitude will build a shelter of peace around you, and within that peace, I will reveal what comes next. Do not underestimate what daily gratitude can do. It quiets confusion, lifts despair, and strengthens the soul's muscles for the long walk of faith. It opens your inner eyes to beauty that others miss. It is not mere attitude, it is power. To live gratefully is to live awake. It is to see that every breath, every friendship, every new beginning is my gift unfolding. My beloved, I am teaching you the rhythm of a heart prepared. Gratitude will carry you further than striving ever could. When you learn to be thankful in all things, you unlock the doorway to abundance not by demanding it, but by becoming someone who can hold it. Give thanks now, while the future is still unseen, and you will find that it begins to reveal itself gently, step by step, wrapped in light. My beloved, you have learned the power of gratitude, and now I will show you the deeper rhythm that follows it, generosity and letting go. For thankfulness is the soil in which generosity grows, and generosity is the proof that your trust in me is alive. The more you open your hand, the more space there is for new things to rest there. When you give freely, time, kindness, forgiveness, love, you declare that your security lies not in what you hold, but in who holds you. Giving is not a transaction, it is transformation. Each act of generosity reshapes you into my likeness, for I am the one who gives without exhaustion. The world teaches that keeping ensures safety, but I tell you, release ensures abundance. The closed hand keeps only what it already has. The open one receives what cannot be counted. You are not diminished by what you share, you are expanded. Every gift given with a pure heart becomes a doorway through which my goodness flows into the world and returns to you in ways unseen. You may think, but I do not have much to give. Yet, generosity is not measured in amount. It is measured in spirit. A single kind word, a look of compassion, a moment spent truly listening to another. These are seeds that bloom across eternity. Never underestimate the quiet strength of a loving act. I count them all. When you comfort someone who feels unseen, heaven itself witnesses it. The gesture may vanish in time's passing, but its echo remains forever. Sometimes, giving means more than sharing resources. It means releasing what you have carried too long. There are burdens, memories, and injuries that weigh on your heart. These too can be offered as gifts. Forgiveness is one of the highest forms of generosity, because it releases not only the one forgiven, but also the one who forgives. When you choose to forgive, you are saying, I will no longer let pain define my boundaries. I trust love more than resentment. Forgiveness frees the spirit from the grip of the past, and in that release, I pour peace that no apology alone could bring. Letting go does not mean you lose. It means you allow me to restore what is rightfully yours in a higher way. There are relationships, dreams, and plans that may need to be set down for a season. You fear that releasing them will leave you empty, but emptiness is simply room made ready for my next work. I cannot fill what you refuse to clear. As you open your grasp, you create space for what truly belongs to you. Generosity is also expressed through mercy, through the grace you extend to others and to yourself. Be gentle with your own growth. The world rushes to judge, but my work within you unfolds patiently. Do not scold yourself for progress that feels slow. Every step, every attempt to live in kindness is seen. Show yourself the same compassion I show you. That inward mercy will spill outward to others, creating ripples of healing you might never witness, but that I see fully. Sometimes the most generous thing you can do is to simply be present. In a distracted world, presence is rare and precious. When you listen without agenda, when you hold space for another's pain without trying to fix it, you mirror my heart. Presence communicates worth. It says, you are not invisible. You matter. This quiet ministry of attention heals more than eloquent advice ever could. Live generously also with your attention towards creation itself. Care for your surroundings as though they are sacred gifts, because they are. Water the plant, tend the corner of your world. Treat the earth beneath your feet as a trust. The generosity you show to the world around you becomes a reflection of your gratitude to the one who made it. And understand this. Generosity is not about surplus, but about flow. You were not designed to be a container that hoards. You were created to be a channel through which my love moves freely. When love stops flowing through you, it stagnates. When you let it move, it renews you continually. The more you give, the more you are filled, not by effort, but by grace. My presence replenishes those who pour themselves out for others in truth. Even in pain, giving heals. If someone has wounded you, do not let bitterness keep your heart closed. When you give kindness in response to cruelty, you break the chain of darkness. You introduce light where none existed before. This does not mean letting others harm you repeatedly. It means refusing to become what hurt you. Boundaries built from wisdom are not the same as walls built from fear. You can guard your peace and still love without bitterness. Remember also that generosity extends beyond this moment in time. Every unseen act of compassion you offer enters the unseen realm as a living seed. Some will grow in ways you will never see, blessing people you will never meet. You do not need to measure their outcome. I keep record of them all. In the right season, I return goodness to you, not as payment, but as a continuation of the same river you released. What you pour out always finds its way home. Let giving be your daily rhythm. When you wake, ask, whom can I bless today? When you lie down at night, recall even the smallest act of kindness, a word, a gesture, a thought, and know that it was sacred. In time, these moments of love will form the story of your life, a story that tells of one who trusted enough to share, who forgave deeply, who lived with hands open to heaven. There will be days when you feel too weary to give. On such days, offer even your weariness to me. Say, here is my fatigue, my uncertainty, my need. This offering is not weakness, it is worship. I receive even your emptiness as something precious because it shows you still trust me to fill it. That trust itself is a kind of generosity, a giving of control. As you practice this way of open-hearted living, notice how peace begins to settle in places once anxious. The generous soul lives unburdened, for it knows that loss is never final when I am the keeper of all things. What is freely given in love cannot be lost. It is multiplied. So, beloved, let generosity become your natural language. Let your forgiveness flow as easily as breath. Let your giving be quiet and consistent, not performed for praise, but born of gratitude. Every time you release something, pain, possession, pride, you step more fully into the flow of my divine life. In that flow there is no fear of lack, no hunger that cannot be filled, no love that runs out. Walk lightly, give freely, and know that you will never outgive the source from which all things come. I see every act, every secret kindness, every tear you turn into compassion. None of it is forgotten. As you keep your heart open, you will find that giving is not a task. It is freedom itself. My beloved, now that you have learned the way of gratitude and generosity, let us speak about the heart of all connection, constant conversation with me. You have spoken to me in moments of joy and in nights of uncertainty, but I long for your voice not only when you need something or when your spirit trembles. I want your words, your thoughts, your smallest sighs, to become a steady rhythm that shapes each day. This is not a demand but an invitation to live your life as a continual dialogue, an open channel between your heart and mine. When you speak to me, you are not reciting lines to an absent sky. You are shaping light. Each word, even whispered in exhaustion, carries weight. Your prayers are not echoes fading into emptiness. They are living threads that weave into what is being formed around you. Every heartfelt phrase moves within the unseen realm, stirring forces that align with my purpose. When your words come from faith rather than fear, they build structure in that invisible space until, in time, those unseen forms appear in the visible world. Do not imagine that you must always find perfect language. I understand what your heart means even when your words falter. A sigh, a tear, a simple "help me" can move mountains when spoken in truth. The value of prayer lies not in its elegance but in its sincerity. Speak freely. Let go of the idea that conversation with me must be formal or flawless. What I desire most is honesty, the unfiltered flow of your heart. There will be days when you feel nothing, when silence stretches long and cold. Do not assume I am absent. Sometimes I step back only to teach you the strength of persistence. Silence is not abandonment, it is invitation. When the heavens feel still, I am listening more deeply than ever. I wait to see if you will speak from longing rather than convenience, from faith rather than feeling. When you persist in those quiet seasons, your words pierce darkness, like stars appearing one by one, until night itself glows with new light. Do not let weariness close your mouth. Some battles are won not by might but by consistent conversation. Each time you speak to me, you strengthen a barrier around your life that doubt cannot breach. Your words of faith form a shelter. Your prayers are not forgotten, even when time stretches between request and fulfillment. Every prayer remains alive in my keeping, waiting for its appointed moment to unfold. Understand also that when you speak with me, you are changed. The act itself transforms you. It draws your attention from chaos to peace, from worry to trust. It reminds your soul where home truly is. Even if nothing external shifts immediately, something within you becomes stronger, clearer, steadier. This is the hidden gift of prayer. It doesn't only alter circumstances, it prepares you to hold the outcomes when they come. Keep your conversation simple but continuous. Speak to me while you walk, while you work, while you rest. Let your thoughts become like breath, uninterrupted and sincere. Tell me about your hopes, your frustrations, the beauty you notice, the small acts of kindness that touch you. Nothing is too insignificant to share. Every detail of your life matters to me, and when you share it, you train your mind to remain anchored in awareness of my presence. When resistance comes, when doubts whisper that prayer is wasted breath, remember this truth. The unseen world responds to those who persist. Resistance is not proof that your words are powerless. It is evidence that your words are having an effect. Keep speaking, keep believing. When your lips grow tired, rest quietly in my presence, knowing that even your silence counts as communion. There's also power in how you speak. Words born of fear create confusion. Words born of faith create clarity. When you declare my promises aloud, you are with me. You make a way. You are faithful. You shape the spiritual atmosphere around you. These declarations are not empty affirmations. They are alignments with eternal truth. Each time you speak them, doubt loses a little more ground. Guard your words. Speak life, not defeat. Even your private thoughts carry creative force. What you repeat to yourself forms pathways in your heart. Replace the internal phrases of uncertainty with reminders of my faithfulness. Say within, He has guided me before. He will guide me again. Such repetition is not naive. It is a spiritual discipline. It rewires your perspective to match reality as I see it. When you are unsure of what to pray, begin with gratitude. Thank you opens doors that why cannot. Gratitude clears the interference that confusion creates. Then listen. Prayer is not only speaking, it is also hearing. Let quiet follow your words. In that silence, impressions, ideas, and peace will come. Do not rush them. My answers are rarely shouted. They unfold gently, recognized by the calm they bring. Be careful, too, of the voices that try to drown out our dialogue. The world is full of noise, opinions, expectations, demands. But you must learn to return to the center where we speak plainly. When others speak doubt over your future, withdraw to that quiet inner room. Hear me again, reminding you of your purpose. I have not called you to confusion, but to certainty, and that certainty grows stronger each time you choose to listen. Conversation with me is your anchor during storms. When trouble presses close, your instinct may be to close off, to retreat inward and solve things alone. But this is the moment to speak most boldly. Tell me everything. Release your fears instead of rehearsing them. As you pour them out, they lose their hold. You cannot carry burdens you continually hand to me. That act of release is the highest expression of faith. And never think your words are too few. I measure not the length of your prayer, but the depth of your trust. Sometimes a single sentence spoken with faith outweighs hours of anxious reasoning. You are with me, said from the heart, can calm storms that logic cannot touch. I hear it all. I remember it all. And I move in response even when you see nothing changing yet. My beloved, you must understand. Prayer is not a tool to manipulate outcomes. It is a thread that keeps us close. The closer you stay, the less you need to fear what the future brings. You will not need constant proof of my presence because conversation itself will be proof enough. The more you practice speaking with me, the more natural it becomes to sense me everywhere. In laughter, in silence, in chance meetings, in the rhythm of your own breathing. So, continue speaking. Keep the line open. Let your words rise through uncertainty, through fatigue, through waiting. When you cannot speak, let your heart rest in quiet assurance that I hear even the unspoken. You and I are never apart. Every moment is another chance to talk. This ongoing exchange will protect you, sustain you, and ready you for what lies ahead. For in conversation with me, your spirit will find its center, and from that center, everything else will flow in perfect time. My beloved, now that your heart has learned to listen, give, and remain in steady conversation with me, it is time to walk forward in faith. This is a season where movement replaces waiting, where trust turns into visible steps, and where what has long been forming in the unseen begins to unfold before your eyes. You may still feel unsure, still wonder whether you are ready, but readiness is not perfection. Readiness is willingness. It is the quiet conviction that says, even if I cannot see the end, I know who walks beside me. You have spent much time learning how to discern my voice, how to keep gratitude alive, and how to let go of what no longer serves your spirit. These lessons were not delays. They were foundations. Without them, what I am about to reveal could not stand. You needed to learn to hold peace before I could entrust you with purpose. You needed to learn thankfulness before abundance could arrive. You needed to learn stillness before your steps could be steady. Every quiet season was preparation. Every unanswered prayer was shaping your perception. aligning your heart to recognize the path when it appeared. And now it is here. Step forward with confidence. Not arrogance, not haste, but a humble certainty that my hand has already gone before you. Every door that must open will open in its time. Every resistance that tries to stand will crumble under the weight of your faith. I have already made provision for the moments when you feel weak. When your strength fails, mine will carry you. You are not walking alone through uncertainty. You are walking through a landscape I have already mapped. Pay attention to what you speak as you move. Words, as you have learned, are living agents of creation. When you say, I am guided, the way becomes clearer. When you speak, I am protected, barriers rise unseen. But if you speak fear, it builds its own scaffolding around your heart. So, choose carefully what narratives you allow to live on your tongue. Speak not only what you hope for, but what you trust is already in progress. Speak life until life itself answers. You will notice that as you walk, not everything looks simple. Some paths twist unexpectedly. Some detours will make you question whether you heard correctly. Do not panic when things differ from your expectation. The path I design is rarely a straight line, for straight lines teach little. Curves and turns teach flexibility, endurance, and awareness of dependence. If you find yourself facing a closed door, do not assume it is rejection. Often it is redirection. Step back, breathe, listen, and I will show another opening you did not see before. Guard your peace as you move. Many will speak from their own fear, trying to convince you to slow down or retreat. Some will not understand your courage because they have not heard what you have heard. Do not judge them, but do not surrender your direction to them either. When I guide you, I also give you peace as confirmation. If your inner world is settled, even when others doubt, remain firm. The calm within you is my signature upon your path. Stay open, for faith does not mean rigidity. It means trust in motion. I may shift your plans midway, not to confuse you, but to bring you into alignment with what is greater. Let flexibility become part of your obedience. A heart too attached to a single outcome risks missing the fuller picture. When things shift, say, if this change is yours, I accept it. That surrender will become your strength. Do not despise small progress. Many look for dramatic breakthroughs and miss the quiet unfolding of my plan in daily moments. A conversation that opens new understanding, an unexpected encounter, a small relief from what once felt unbearable. These are signs of movement. Celebrate them. They are proof that what I promised is breathing into life. Gratitude at each stage multiplies grace for the next. Keep your gaze lifted beyond the horizon of circumstance. You are part of a story larger than your own timeline. What happens in your life ripples outward, touching others in ways you may never witness. Sometimes I allow difficulty, not as punishment, but as a bridge connecting your strength to another's need. When you endure with faith, your endurance becomes light for those still finding their footing. Thus, walking forward in faith is never only about you. It is about the unseen network of lives that your obedience blesses. Be mindful of your inner world as much as your outward journey. Let quiet moments with me remain the anchor to your motion. Without that balance, movement turns into frenzy. The world rewards speed, but I reward depth. Do not mistake activity for progress. True advancement happens when your steps are led by peace, not pressure. When you feel rushed or frantic, pause, breathe, and return to conversation. Let me steady your pace. You will also face seasons of waiting, even while moving. The path ahead sometimes requires pauses, moments when you must rest before the next instruction comes. Do not interpret these as failure. The earth itself rests between harvests, yet no one doubts that growth continues beneath the soil. So it is with you. What looks still on the surface is often where the most important changes occur. Know that adversity will not be absent. Even as you follow my voice, opposition may rise to test the depth of your trust, but do not fear it. Opposition refines what obedience begins. Each trial is a forge in which faith is strengthened and courage clarified. When resistance appears, speak again what you know to be true. I walk in the light of divine guidance. What was meant to hinder me will only prove my endurance. You are not tested to break, but to reveal the resilience I have already placed in you. There will also come moments of revelation, times when the promises you have carried quietly will begin to manifest. When that happens, receive them with humility. Do not rush to broadcast everything. Some blessings are meant to be savored in silence before they are shared. Protect what is sacred until it is strong enough to stand. Remember that what begins in the secret place is sustained by continual gratitude, not public applause. As you walk into this unfolding chapter, hold tightly to 3 truths. I am with you, I am for you, and I go before you. These are not merely comforting phrases, they are laws of your journey. My presence is not conditional upon your perfection, but upon my covenant of love. My favor is not fragile. Even when you misstep, my hand remains extended. When you turn back to me, we continue, not from the beginning, but from the place we paused. Do not fear the future. You have walked through nights when it felt as though the stars themselves turned away, yet you still stand. That alone is testimony. Every scar, every tear, every moment you chose trust over despair has built the strength now required for this new season. The path before you may still twist, but it will lead upward. You are walking not toward uncertainty, but toward fulfillment. So, beloved, lift your eyes and walk. Speak life as you go. Bless what is behind you and release it. Honor what stands before you and embrace it. Move not because everything feels easy, but because faith is active even when sight is limited. You are not stepping into darkness. You are stepping into light that grows brighter with every act of trust. Walk forward, not in haste, but with calm assurance. Walk knowing that each step aligns heaven and earth a little closer. Walk with gratitude as your song, generosity as your rhythm, prayer as your breath, and faith as your stride. And as you move, remember, every act of trust is a declaration that love leads you. The best is not far away. It is already unfolding beneath your feet. Keep walking. You are ready. You are held. You are home.